Hi guys, and welcome to your first effect. The purpose of this lecture is not only to show you the effect, but to show you how effects work in After Effects. They are pretty simple. As soon as you get the concept, a bit at least, you will be able to play with all the effects that After Effects has. Just a word of warning, not all effects will work with you. Some of them will be hard to play with and hard to apply, and some of them you will not see anything on the screen. And some of them require solid layers and other kind of layers. Fine. So let's start. The first thing we want, like we said in the previous lecture, is a composition. Just come to the bottom here and click create a new composition. Now, we want the same parameters. We are going to put a name, let's say visual. For visual effects, let's write effects, is okay. And choose also HDTV 720 by 25. You can come to the menu if you don't have it and choose it over here. And it will give us a composition of 1280 by 720. That's fine. The frame rate you can care less, but the duration here, make sure you type 500. Let's leave the background color to black. Cool. We click OK, and here you are. We have our first composition. And we notice that a composition here has been created. It's called visual effects. Cool. We want now to put some text. Come to the T here in your toolbar. Okay, you click on it, and then you come to in the middle of your composition somewhere. You click, and let's write visual. Choose your selection tool. If you notice the character panel has opened, it should open with you. So what I would like you to do, if you have a different font, please make it uppercase or all caps and make it bold. We need that. Then you can make it big and small the way you want by doing like this. Let me show you. You come to the TT here, that's the font size, and your cursor will turn into a small hand with a finger up and two arrows. You click on it and you can scrub up or down. You're just scrubbing and you will get the size the way you want. Fine. Now we have put the size. What we want to do is to put the effects. Now come to Window and go to Effects and Presets. Click on it. Make sure it is ticked. If it's already ticked, you will see here the effects and preset. Now there are so many effects and presets here that it's impossible to know what is what for now. Later on you will become very familiar with this. Come to the search here, just click inside and write ball. And you will find all the presets and the effects that have a ball inside them, inside the name. What we want is simulation CC ball. Click on it. Now you can click and drag. You can either drop it on the layer inside the composition viewer or come to your layer inside the timeline here and drop it. I want to drop it here. It is nicer. You notice how it made a square around and two bars to show you that this is the layer where you are going to put your effects. So let's release the mouse and the effect immediately takes effect. That's good. Now what happened exactly? You notice that visual here, nothing changed. I don't see anything in my layer, but a panel has opened. This is the effect controls panel. It's here opening on the layer called visual. If you click on it, you can see the layer visual down there. And then it's visual effects and it's a layer visual. Fine. Now you have the name of the effect here, and you have several parameters like scatter, rotation, ball size, and so on. Most of them have stopwatches. When you see a stopwatch, it means you can keyframe. It means you can have an animation. Before we start animating, let's look at these parameters. Now, most of the effects are the same. You have the name of the effect, and then you have parameters. Sometimes you have group of parameters. It gets complicated. This is a very simple one. Let's look at scatter. I can come and click when the mouse has become a hand with double arrows. I click and scrub it to the right or to the left. And you notice what's happening. You can see the effect, exactly what is happening to the effect. Cool. That's about scatter. If I want to reset it, all I have to do is to point at the parameter, in this case scatter, right click and say reset. It goes back to its initial value when you dropped the effect on the layer. Now we have rotation axis. This is a choice here. Let's leave it to x-axis. We have rotation. And to rotate here you have the full rotation. The first one, 0 times, are the full rotations. And here the 0.0 degree is the angle that you want to have. If I click and scrub through, you notice you are working already in 3D, and that is pretty amazing already. See how you can even create an animation, comes from here to here and things like this. I will right click and say reset. Let's look at the twist property. Also, you have some choices here you can make. Nevertheless, let's keep it on x-axis. Then you have the twist angle, full rotations, and the degrees here. I can click and right, for example, 90 degrees. Here you are, I have a twist. More interesting, if I click and drag, I notice how it is twisting the layer very nicely. That will be a nice animation, comes from here to here, for example. Notice how I'm scrubbing left and right, and it's changing the values. I want to reset it, I right click and say reset. So now together we are, exploring this effect, and that's what you should do. Sometimes you get nothing, be careful. Now there is the grid spacing here. If I take it up, I notice that it's giving me some funny big balls, and it's quite nice, by the way. If you start from here, go to here, actually at 0 is normal. Let's put this one at 3. Cool. So you put it at 3. What I did is to click on it and type 3. Now the ball size, that's gonna be interesting. If I click and scrub down, so the value is down, now actually I'm having something pretty interesting here. That is cool. Fine, this is very beautiful. Now, you already have a visual effect or an effect on your text. There was no need to do much. Just take the CC ball, drop it in, change the value of grid spacing and ball size, and here you are, you have something amazing. Let's create an animation. Let's go to 1 second. You click on your current time indicator and you drag to 1 second. It will really snap a bit. You will see 1 second here. Let's take the scatter and take it to the maximum. Now it's gonna go very big. I can click in and write 1000. So it has scattered totally. Now I will click on the stopwatch. Unfortunately, when you click on the stopwatch, it will not show anything in your timeline. What you have to do for the effects, come to your timeline, click on the layer and press the U key. And here you are, you can start seeing your keyframes. The keyframe has been created here when I clicked on the stopwatch where the timeline indicator was. I click on the timeline indicator, drag it to the beginning, come to scatter and put it back to 0. So now to run our animation and see our work, we can come to preview and click on the play stop, or we can press spacebar and it will play. I will press spacebar. And here you are, you have a very nice animation. Of course, it's a very simple animation, but it will give you a notion of how visual effects work. Let's press the spacebar again and have some fun. Here you are. Of course, you can come and change the color of the text. You go to character, you change it to, for example, blue. And your animation is still running and the colors have changed. Cool, that's wonderful. If I come to the keyframe here and try to change the value of the grid spacing, for example, and run my animation, is always the same. Beautiful. So what I would like you to do is to go to After Effects, pick CC ball from the effects and presets and drop it on your text layer. You can drop it on a shape layer if you'd like. It will have the same effect and nicer. And come and mess up with all these parameters. The purpose of this is for you to, get somehow familiar with the effects. So an effect is applied to a layer, and then the effect itself has several parameters. Some of them can be keyframed, in our case all of them, and some of them will not be able to keyframe. They are just a choice. And then you can create an animation using the keyframe like we have seen in this lecture and the lecture before, or a couple of lectures before. So thank you very much for listening. This was an introduction about visual effects. It's very interesting. I encourage you to come and play with CC ball action and then return to the course and we continue together. See you in the next lecture.